I definitely feel a little bit more comfortable and confident sharing my own story because before it was told for me. So this is a way I can tell it myself and kind of bring my own personality to the forefront and get an inside look of my life.
At 24 years old, Simone Biles is the most decorated American gymnast in the history of the sport. Before heading to Tokyo, she'd won a combined total of 30 Olympic and World Championship medals, including 4 gold and 1 bronze at the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro.
I feel like I've grown a lot. In 2016, I was a kid going to the Olympics, and now I'm somewhat of a young adult entering 2021 Olympics. And I think the most important part, or the biggest part of my growth journey, has been finding my own voice, speaking up for myself, speaking up for what I believe in, knowing what's right and what's wrong. I feel like there are so many examples, one being the USA Gymnastics, the Me Too movement. I feel like another one, which is so easy because I am obviously a Black athlete, but would be Black Lives Matter. Before, it's kind of, you're scared of the repercussions that you're gonna deal with, the backlash and all of that. But now it's like, no, I don't really care anymore. I'm gonna speak up for what I believe in and what I know is right. So hopefully one day brown and Black girls and boys can grow up and feel comfortable and speak out.
While the Tokyo Games will be Simone's second Olympics, they will be her first without her family, because due to COVID restrictions, spectators are not allowed to attend the events.
It's gonna be sad because I feel like at the end of the day, we don't get to celebrate our success together, and that's the hardest part. Obviously, whenever I come home, we can do that, whatever happens in Tokyo. But they've been to all of my competitions. They're my biggest support system. They've been the biggest believers in me since day one. So it will suck, but we know it's right, and we have to protect the Japanese citizens and their country, and those are the rules. So we're gonna abide by them. But I know they'll be there in spirit, and they'll be watching early in the morning and all of that.
Simone's boyfriend, pro football player Jonathan Owens, will also be watching, perhaps alongside some of his Houston Texan teammates.
It's gonna be different because he's actually gonna be starting camp whenever we go into podium training or stuff like that. So right before the meet gets started, he'll start his camp. So he'll be really busy. I know he said he'll stay up the night before to watch qualifications, but then once camp starts, he'll try to get glimpses of it here and there. I'm sure they'll have a TV in their training room, but who knows, we'll see. But just kind of talking to him, finding that comfort as well. He's been one of my biggest supporters as well, and always motivating me and making sure I'm ready for gym. And if I ever have a down day or I'm like, I don't want to go, he's like, yes, you can do it. You're gonna do it. Get up. Like, this is your dream. So he's always so motivating and so sweet. He's had a huge impact on my life and kind of my young adulthood, just because at the end of the day, I'm not just an athlete. I'm a girlfriend, I'm a daughter, I'm a dog mom. There's a lot that goes into me. So whenever I come home, I get to be just human rather than just like a stone cold athlete all the time. And I think it's just brought me that lightness coming home and just being able to be a girlfriend and have fun and go on dates and stuff like that. My life, now that I've gotten older, I've realized gymnastics isn't my whole life. It's just a part of my life. So I still have to live. Once I step onto the competition floor, I am competing against myself. But I've always been trying to compete against myself since I was at a young age.
On June 15th, the 7-part documentary series Simone vs. Herself premiered on Facebook Watch. In the 4th episode, Simone opens up about the long-term effects of being sexually abused by former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar.
I slept all the time, and it's because sleeping was basically better than like offing myself. It was like my way to escape reality, and sleeping was like the closest thing to death for me at that point. So I just slept all the time. I feel like for years, even just as an athlete, as a gymnast growing up in the era that we did, we're very good at compartmentalizing. And so I think that's what I did, and I avoided it because then it's like another can of worms to open, and that's not what I needed. I didn't really, not necessarily had time for it, but I didn't want to allow that time to consume. And so it was like, I'm just gonna ignore it. It's gonna be fine. Obviously, with depression and anxiety, it got worse, and then it was like, oh, well, this is why. So I had to face that fear and face that problem.
It's okay to say, I need help. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like athletes are coming out of the woodworks and telling people it's okay. Because at the end of the day, we're just like you.
In the past, had seen sports psychologists for issues I've dealt with in the gym, and that always seemed to help and kind of put me in a good place again. So I wouldn't say I was open to it at first because I was very shy. I didn't want to do it. But then once I went there, I was like, this is such a safe outlet. It's a new environment. It makes me feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, even though it was emotionally and physically draining, it helped me get some pent off aggression and emotion off my chest that just made everything feel a little bit lighter. And then I actually looked forward to going to my therapy sessions. But also, I think personally for me, just staying busy helps. And I have a very busy schedule, so that's really, really easy. But I was also put on anxiety and depression meds, which I think should be more normalized. I mean, growing up, I was on ADHD medicine, so I'm no stranger to medicine. I'm not really afraid of it. If it's going to help me and aid me to be a better me, I'm all for it. I'll try it. So yes, I am taking some medicines for that, and it's helping.
In June, Simone won the 2021 U.S. Gymnastics Championship for the 7th time, setting the record for most all-around national titles for an American female gymnast. The historic win also further cemented Simone's status as one of the greatest gymnasts of all time, which is something she likes to have a little fun with by adding a bit of flair to her leotard.
I feel like on one side with the goat and stuff like that, I know my placement and I feel like I've earned that in the right. And it was more to just irritate people and kind of piss them off because they hated it so much. So it's like, well, the fans love it, the haters hate it, so we're gonna do it. So it's a win-win for both of us. And then on the other side, it's like 2016, the balance beam, it kind of shook my confidence. Yes, I walked away with a bronze Olympic medal, but at the end of the day, I could have done better, but then there were so many people so disappointed. And it's like, I still got a medal for our country. I got a medal for myself. Yes, I'm not the most proud of my performance, but I still finished the routine strong. I medaled, but people were so upset at me, and it just kind of hurt and it sucked. But now I know my place, and it's more of like I found my voice, and it's gonna be fine. You can't change what happened. You can only move forward. So I try to be confident in my other beam performances that I do. Who knows what the future will bring? That's what I'm not sure of, because if you ask any athlete that has spent 17 years or plus working so hard at their goals, they don't know who they are once they're not an athlete anymore. So it's for us to figure out, and I'm excited to start that journey whenever I'm done with this career, whatever that journey may take me. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I've dedicated my whole entire life to gymnastics, and it's why I'm so good. So who knows? Who knows what else I'm good at until I tap into that.